welcome back to Thrifty in OKC. I'm coming straight home from work. Trying to catch some good light. I got a little bit of going from our allergy temperature swings here in Oklahoma, but I'm trying to catch some good light so I can share my vintage haul that I got with you guys in an estate sale this weekend. So I've talked a lot about eBay, I've talked a lot about Poshmark, but Etsy really is probably my second largest business after FBA. And I made about $10,000 on Etsy last year, which for a part-time gig is nothing to sneeze at. That's a gross number, not a net. But I also feel very passionate about my Etsy business. I love it. It's probably my favorite of all three of them. I love fashion, but I really love vintage fashion. And so I'm excited to share the stuff that I got with you. And if you just love vintage clothes, hopefully you'll see some things that you just think are fabulous. And if you're interested into getting into reselling or you're already a reseller, hopefully you'll like some of the tips that I have on reselling vintage. Most of them, if you resell vintage, you probably already know. But if you're interested in getting into the business, then maybe it'll help you out a little bit. So I don't buy a lot of vintage anymore. And I don't because here in Oklahoma City, we just have a lot of vintage, which sounds kind of silly, but we used to have some vintage shops and they've shut down. So when estate sales have a lot of vintage clothing, there's not a lot of people coming to buy the vintage clothing and it winds up in the thrift store. So that being said, I have about 15 huge tubs of vintage stuff that needs to be listed. So I try to steer clear of vintage, but one of my friends called me on Saturday and said, hey, I went to this really great estate sale and they have a ton of clothes and they're priced pretty reasonably. So she does linens, a lot of dishes, dishware, knick-knack, kitsch type stuff. She's at C Golly G, I think is her shop on Etsy. And she does do some clothes, but she knows how much I love clothes. So I was like, well, should I go? Because if I'm going, I'm buying. So I knew if I went, I was going to come home with some stuff. So I was like, I don't know. But I decided to go. And I'm glad that I did. All of their vintage clothes were at $5 less 25% on Saturday. They would have gone to 50% on Sunday. But I went ahead and got my favorites. So I got about 12 items, not a ton. But I thought I'd kind of show you the kind of stuff that I look for and what I find to help, what I find makes a good resell item for a vintage shop. Even on eBay, these are good tips to use if you wanted to just do vintage on eBay. So the first thing I got was this cute little purse. I'm going to kind of walk it up a little bit here so you can see it a little bit better. One thing I love about selling vintage is people don't expect that vintage is going to be perfect like they do if you buy on eBay or Poshmark. Vintage, they know probably over time it's going to get a scuff mark or a little bit of damage or a little bitty hole or the hem's going to have to come out. And it's not a deal breaker. And I love that about vintage. So I bought this little bag that I just showed you for $5 and I'll probably list it up in my shop, Evelyn Rose Vintage, what I do on Etsy, for about $28. Not a bad ROI, return on investment, for those of you who don't know. So let me move on to the clothes here. Mod always does really well. 60s is always very in. So it's a very mod look. It's got the stripes. That's funny, I just felt a hole in there. Hole on a seam doesn't ever bother me a tiny bit. That is an easy stitch. Kind of glad I did this now. I did not notice that was in there, but easy stitch, it's on the seam. I wouldn't pass this up because of a hole in the seam. Hole in the fabric, that was large, maybe. Again, I'm gonna kind of walk this up just so you can see this does have a little bit of staining on the collar. Not a deal breaker for me or for anybody else. It's got this cute pocket detail right there. So $5 less 25%, which is like $3.50 or something. I'm not great at the math here. Bought this little dress. Love that this is a larger size. Love the print. Elastic is kind of shot on the sleeves. Again, not a deal breaker. This would be so cute with boots in the fall. So there is that one there. Uh-oh, drop one. Another little mod. Cute knit dress. One thing you want to be really wary of when you buy vintage is the smell. And it's really hard for me to describe to you, but there are some smells that you can get out by doing like a baking soda in the freezer combination or soaking in OxyClean or Dawn. There are some smells you cannot get out, and I don't know how to explain which is which to you, but just if you smell it, if it smells kind of musty, that's one thing, but some old things have a really distinct smell and you will not be able to get that out. You can get out a musty smell usually. Cute, really interesting to me. I wonder if there was like a slip that went under these holes. So I'm gonna Kind of walk that up just so you can kind of see. But somebody will love this. They will snatch this up. I'll probably put this up for like $48. It's in really good condition. Cheesy crackers. That fell off. Love the print on this. I really go a lot by prints. Belt. If you can find a vintage item with a belt, coordinating fabric, any leather, it doesn't matter. If it still has its belt, that's a miracle of Jesus, because people lose those belts. 30, 40, 50 years, it's one of the first things to go. So cute. This would be a cute festival dress. Cute with sandals. Cute with cowboy boots. It's got an elastic waist. That's a keeper for me for sure. This is a vested gentris dress. This is one of my favorite vintage labels to sell. Very Lily Pulitzer feel, if you ask me. I don't know if you can kind of see that print there on the bottom. She always has her VG on here. Again, have not attempted any cleaning of this whatsoever. Has a belt. This is also a larger size. So vintage is hard to find in anything but a small and an extra small. The waists were tiny. So finding something that's a little bit bigger, this would probably actually fit me. It's probably an 8 or 10. Caveat, it is marked as a 14. So another tip, if you're getting into reselling or you just want to buy vintage, the size tag is not what the size is in today's sizing. So I'm going to kind of bring this tag up to you. This is a great label to look for. You will sell it every time as long as it is in decent condition. I found a couple of these new with tags in an estate sale I sold for like 250 bucks a piece. Score for me. We ate good that week. This is such a cute little dress. I mean, look at those whales on the bottom. This would be so cute for the summer, so cute for a little bridal shower. Something different. You're not going to see it everywhere. I'm going to kind of walk my whales up to you. These whales are kind of yellowed. I don't know if that was originally, if they were sewn with like a different fabric or they've just yellowed over time, but I will soak this and see if I can get that out. This is probably handmade. It doesn't have a tag in it, and it looks handmade on the inside seams. That's okay with vintage. That's another thing I love. If you're selling on eBay and you're trying to sell something from 2010 and it's handmade, you're not going to get as much for it as if you're trying to sell something that is a high-end label on eBay, obviously. Vintage isn't necessarily like that. If it's cute, it's cute. It doesn't matter what the label is. Great if you find a big label, you'll make some big bucks. But if you don't, still okay. Funky print. Again, I look for really cool prints. This one is interesting style too. It would tie around your waist here in the front. It also does not have a label. It is probably handmade, but I couldn't pass this crazy print up. This is long enough. You could wear it as a mini dress, but you could wear it with some leggings. I think people think you can't wear vintage nowadays or it really stands out, and a lot of times it doesn't. You can blend it in with your wardrobe. I'm going to kind of walk this up and let you get a really good look at that cool print. Easy to throw on over some leggings. You'd be good to go. This is a basic black dress. I don't normally buy black. I find it to be hard to photograph. But this one in particular, it's a little bit larger size. And that's why I went ahead and picked it up. Plus it was a great deal. You know, like $3.75, $3.50. Very classic. Throw on a bold necklace, some brooches, cluster them right here. Put on a fab belt. Any one of those things can really pizzazz this up. So it's a wiggle style. This is what they call kind of this style where it's a little tighter fitting, a wiggle style dress. These are some of my favorites. Kind of crazy. I came home with this belt. I've got to find what I've done with it. I don't know. But these are Lacoste. I got a blue one and I got a red one. Just kind of a crazy velour dress. No idea what I will sell these for. I have to do some research. Some Lacoste can fetch really high prices. I sold stuff for over 100 bucks before. If it's a tracksuit or an old jacket. But these are a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So I'm interested to do some research on these. Ooh! And see what I might wind up being able to get for those. Somebody will love those, I'm sure. And my final piece, this is my piece de resistance. This is a white leather coat. Loved it. It was marked at $75. I actually paid $25 for this coat. I went up to leave a bid. If you go to estate sales, a lot of times they'll have a bid jar. And what they do on Sundays, they'll go through the bids, and if something didn't sell for the price they wanted for it, they'll pick the highest bid and call you and you can come get it. So I was going to put a bid in the bid jar. She asked what I was going to bid on. I said that white leather coat in the back room. And she asked what I wanted to pay for it. And I said $25, even though it was $75. And she said, just go get it, I'll sell it to you for $75. So I was able to get this. Look at this fabulous pink lining. The things going for this, $25 I would not normally pay for something unless it was like a high-end designer or something. But I have sold this coat in black, brown, baby blue, tan, all kinds of colors. It's a great seller. It's just a very vintage, classic style of coat. Still has a belt. And for a white coat, it's in pretty good condition. The fur is still fabulous looking. It does have a little bit of a stain back here, which I was able to get some of that off, but not all of it. But if you love this coat, that's not going to be a deal breaker for you because you're going to expect it's going to have a little bit of wear and tear with it being white and it being vintage. So I should still get a good chunk of change. I'll probably put this up for $125, $150, which obviously I factor into being willing to pay $25 for it. But I also try to think when I pay up for something, can I at least get my $25 back? If the world ends tomorrow, can I get my $25 back? And I could definitely get my $25 back on this. So I'm not going to lose money on this item. And if nothing else, I could keep it because it's my size. It's a little bit larger size, which is awesome. So don't be afraid to bargain in an estate sale. Don't be afraid to leave a bid. I've gotten some things that way. You know, there's great deals to be had. And depending where you live, if there's not a huge vintage market, you can get some great deals out there. So all in all, I paid about $76, I think, for all of this stuff. And I haven't tallied it up. I don't know exactly what I'll make, but my return on investment on Etsy is pretty high, which, I mean, it is most places, but Etsy even more so than eBay or FBA or even Poshmark. And I love it. So if you have any questions, please feel free. Leave them in the comments. I'm always happy to help. Let's see what else. If you like the video, if you like looking at the clothes, or you like learning information, or you just like seeing me make funny faces and say funny things, give me a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe. We'd love to have you watching our videos. Hopefully I'm going to get my son back out here with a toy bag haul at some point. We have not had a lot of luck finding a good toy bag, so we'll just have to play it by ear and see. But I know he's anxious to get back on the channel. So hope everybody has a great week, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!